When people from different states have warrants out for their arrest in a different state, that situation can become confusing when crossing jurisdictions. But Stephenson County Sheriff Steve Stovall says if someone is pulled over for a traffic stop, the police ask for their driver's license and run their information through the system. If the person has any outstanding warrants against them, the person will be taken to that county's jail. The person is held until the state they're from decides how and when they want to transport them back.
Say, for instance, the FBI had an arrest warrant and the marshals picked them up, that would be on their level. Since this was an arrest warrant, or there could be an arrest warrant at another state, and the state has asked the U.S. Marshals for assistance, that's probably how this happened.